10 of the best Stevie Smith poems everyone should read by Dr. Oliver Tearle, Loughborough University. Stevie Smith, 1902 to 71, was one of the most distinctive and individual poets of the 20th century. Born in Hull in England as Florence Smith, she was given the nickname Stevie after a famous jockey of the time because she was so small. Her poetry is anything but minor, and in her work we often find the quirky and comical rubbing up against the tragic and wistful. Here are 10 of Stevie Smith's greatest poems. I Remember. Like many of Stevie Smith's poems, this one is a little unusual and all the better for it. The speaker is an old man remembering his wedding night during the Blitz, when he married a girl with TB. There aren't many 20th century poets who can get away with the breathless romanticism of an "oh" in their poetry, but Stevie Smith manages it beautifully and poignantly here in her final line. I remember. It was my bridal night, I remember, an old man of 73. I lay with my young bride in my arms, a girl with TB. It was wartime, and overhead the Germans were making a particularly heavy raid on Hampstead. Harry, do they ever collide? I do not think it has ever happened, oh my bride, my bride. Thoughts about the person from Porlock. Smith is not afraid to take on the literary greats and subtly critique or poke fun at them. And in this poem, she tackles Coleridge's Kubla Khan, the writing of which was famously interrupted, supposedly, by the arrival at the poet's house of the person from Porlock, possibly Coleridge's opium dealer. Many of the classic Stevie Smith's poems on this list are very short, but this one's a bit longer. With her characteristic wit, Smith suggests that Coleridge simply used the arrival of this person as an excuse, and that he was already stuck with Kubla Khan. Many literary scholars are inclined to agree. Thoughts about the person from Porlock by Stevie Smith. Coleridge received the person from Porlock and ever after called him a curse. Then why did he hurry to let him in? He could have hid in the house. It was not right of Coleridge, in fact it was wrong, but often we all do wrong. As the truth is, I think, he was already stuck with Kubla Khan. He was weeping and wailing, I am finished, finished, I shall never write another word of it, when along comes the person from Porlock and takes the blame for it. It was not right, it was wrong, but often we all do wrong. May we inquire the name of the person from Porlock? Why, Pawson, didn't you know? He lived at the bottom of Porlock Hill, so had a long way to go. He wasn't much in the social sense, though his grandmother was a warlock, one of the Rutlandshire ones, I fancy, and nothing to do with Porlock. And he lived at the bottom of the hill, as I said, and had a cat named Flo, and had a cat named Flo. I long for the person from Porlock to bring my thoughts to an end. I am becoming impatient to see him. I think of him as a friend. Often I look out of the window, often I run to the gate. I think he will come this evening. I think it is rather late. I am hungry to be interrupted for ever and ever, amen. O person from Porlock, come quickly and bring my thoughts to an end. I felicitate the person who have a person from Porlock. I felicitate the people who have a person from Porlock to break up everything and throw it away, because then there will be nothing to keep them, and they need not stay. Why do they grumble so much? He comes like a benison. They should be glad he has not forgotten them. They might have had to go on. These thoughts are depressing, I know. They are depressing. I wish I was more cheerful. It is more pleasant. Also, it is a duty. We should smile as well as submitting to the purpose of one above, who is experimenting with various mixtures of human character, which goes best. All is interesting for him. It is exciting, but not for us. Then I go again. Smile, smile, and get some work to do. Then you will be practically unconscious without positively having to go. Bog-Face. It is hard to find analogues, precursors or concursors, to borrow the critic Nicholas Worrell's word. For Stevie Smith. Yet this poem, with its straightforward language, its use of quatrains, and its question and answer structure involving two speakers, might put us in mind of William Blake more than any of Smith's contemporaries. Who Bog-Face is, though, remains a mystery. Bog-Face by Stevie Smith. Dear little Bog-Face, why are you so cold? And why do you lie with your eyes shut? You are not very old. I am a child of this world and a child of grace. And mother, I shall be glad when it is over. I am Bog-Face. The Jungle Husband. Now we get a verse epistle, a poem written as a letter from one person to another, in this case, a man named Wilfred writing to his wife Evelyn from the jungle. Worth reading for the third line. Yesterday I, hippopotamus, alone.
Dearest Evelyn, I often think of you. Out with the guns in the jungle stew. Yesterday I hippopotamus. I put the measurements down for you, but they got lost in the fuss. It's not a good thing to drink out here. You know, I've practically given it up, dear. Tomorrow I am going alone a long way. Into the jungle. It is all gray. But green on top. Only sometimes when a tree has fallen. The sun comes down plop, it is quite appalling. You never want to go in a jungle pool. In the hot sun, it would be the act of a fool. Because it's always full of anacondas, Evelyn, not looking ill-fed. I'll say. So no more now, from your loving husband Wilfred.
So that was a recording. So here it is, with me reciting it. Dearest Evelyn, I think of you out with the guns in the jungle stew. Yesterday I, hippopotamus. I put the measurements down for you, but they got lost in the fuss. It's not a good thing to drink out here, you know. I've practically given it up, dear. Tomorrow I am going alone a long way into the jungle. It is all grey, but green on top. Only sometimes when a tree has fallen, the sun comes down, plop. It is quite appalling. You never want to go in a jungle pool in the hot sun. It would be the act of a fool, because it's always full of anacondas, Evelyn. Not looking ill-fed, I'll say. So no more now, from your loving husband, Wilfred. Pad Pad. One of our favourite poems by Stevie Smith. Pad Pad is spoken by someone whose lover sat down and told her he didn't love her anymore. The animal suggestion of padding rather than walking, as well as the tigerish crouch of the departed lover, are trademark Stevie Smith touches and make this sad, wistful poem all the more affecting. Pad Pad by Stevie Smith. I always remember your beautiful flowers and the beautiful kimono you wore when you sat on the couch with that tigerish crouch and told me you loved me no more. What I cannot remember is how I felt when you were unkind. All I know is, if you were unkind now, I should not mind. Ah me, the power to feel exaggerated, angry and sad. The years have taken from me. Softly I go now, pad pad. Was it not curious? This poem has its origins in the story involving St. Augustine, in which, upon seeing English children in a slave market, Augustine asked who they were. Upon being told they were Angli, i.e. Anglis or English, Augustine retorted, non-Angli said Angli, not angels but angels. When Pope Gregory I heard about this, he sent Augustine to England to convert the English to Christianity. Smith's poem muses upon the oddness of Augustine's utterance. If he truly believed the English were angels, why did he think it all right that they were being sold as slaves? Was it not curious of Saint Augustine, when he saw the beautiful British children, to say such a curious thing? He said he must send the gospel, at once to them over the waves. He never said he thought it was wicked to steal them away for slaves. To steal the children away, to buy and have slavery at all. Oh no, it was not a thing that caused him any appall. Was it not curious of Gregory, rather more than of Augustine? It was not curious so much as it was wicked of them. The Galloping Cat. Somehow, every Stevie Smith poem is a cat poem. Her work is a curious mixture of energy, humour, quirkiness, naivety, false naivety, as Philip Larkin recognised, wisdom, simplicity, and profundity. The Galloping Cat is a prime example. In this poem, the cat describes its energetic movements as it slips on a banana skin, confronts a foe that isn't there, and ends up being stroked bold. The link provided above includes a good analysis of the poem. The Galloping Cat, 1972. Oh, I am a cat that likes to gallop about doing good. So one day when I was galloping about doing good, I saw a figure in the path. I said, "Get off," because I am a cat that likes to gallop about doing good. But he did not move. Instead, he raised his hand as if to land me a cuff. So I made to dodge so as to prevent him from bringing it off. Unfortunately, I slid on a banana skin some ass had left instead of putting it in the bin. So his hand caught me on the cheek. I tried to lay his arm open from wrist to elbow with my sharp teeth, because I am a cat that likes to gallop about doing good. Would you believe it? He wasn't there. My teeth met nothing but air. But a voice said, "Poor cat," meaning me, and a soft stroke came on me head. Since when I have been bold, I regard myself as a martyr to doing good. Also I heard a swoosh as of wings, and saw a halo shining at the height of Mrs. Gubbin's backyard fence. So I thought, what's the good of galloping about doing good, when angels stand in the path and do not do as they should, such as having an arm to be bitten off? All the same, I intend to go on being a cat that likes to gallop about doing good. So now, with my bald head, I go chopping the untidy flowers down, to and fro, and scooping up the grass to show underneath the cinder path of wrath. Ha 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 ho! Angels aren't the only ones who do not know what's what, and that galloping about doing good is a full-time job that needs an experienced eye of earthly sharpness, worth, I dare say, if you'll forgive a personal note, a good deal more than all that skyey stuff of angels that make so bold as to pity a cat like me that gallops about doing good. To the tune of the Coventry Carol. This poem is about love in part, the love that is nearly right and yet not quite. Smith likens such love to the devil and advises the reader to shun compromise. Essentially, do not settle for anything but the best. Although the language of the poem is straightforward, its title suggests that Smith is making a deeper political point. The poem is set to the tune of the medieval Coventry Carol, to invoke religion and even marriage. Why should people, especially women, be expected to settle for a love that is not quite right and settle down with someone merely because social convention expects it?
The nearly right, and yet not quite. In love is wholly evil, and every heart that loves in part is mortgaged to the devil. I loved or thought I loved in sort. Was this to love again? To take the best and leave the rest, and let the devil in? O lovers true, and others too, whose best is only better, take my advice. Shun compromise. Forget him and forget her.
I can't seem to stop the recording, but here it is, to the tune of the Coventry Carol. The nearly right and yet not quite in love is wholly evil, and every heart that loves in part is mortgaged to the devil. I loved or thought I loved in sort. Was this to love akin? To take the best and leave the rest, and let the devil in? O lovers true, and others too, whose best is only better, take my advice, shun compromise, forget him and forget her. Number 9. Was he married? Another poem which addresses Christianity, Was he married?, is about Jesus Christ and uses the structure of the Christian catechism, a question-answer system to explore whether the superior Christ was King of Heaven, could really know what it's like to be a plain, old, flawed, mortal human being. Was he married by Stevie Smith? Was he married? Did he try to support, as he grew less fond of them, wife and family? No, he never suffered such a blow. Did he feel pointless, feeble and distrait, unwanted by everyone and in the way? From his cradle he was purposeful, his bent strong and his mind full. Did he love people very much, yet find them die one day? He did not love in the human way. Did he ask how long it would go on, wonder if death could be counted on for an end? He did not feel like this. He had a future of bliss. Did he never feel strong, pain for being wrong? He was not wrong, he was right. He suffered from others, not his own spite. But there is no suffering like having made a mistake because of being of an inferior make. He was not inferior, he was superior. He knew then that power corrupts, but some must govern. His thoughts were different. Did he lack friends? Worse, think it was for his fault, not theirs? He did not lack friends. He had disciples he moulded to his ends. Did he ever feel over-handicapped sometimes, yet must draw even? How could he feel like this? He was the King of Heaven. Find a sudden brightness one day in everything, because a mood had been conquered, or a sin. I tell you, he did not sin. Do only human beings suffer from the irritation I have mentioned? Learn too that being comical does not ameliorate the desperation. Only human beings feel this. It is because they are so mixed. All human beings should have a medal. A god cannot carry it. He is not able. A god is man's doll, you ass. He makes him up like this on purpose. He might have made him up worse. He often has in the past. To choose a god of love, as he did and does, is a little move then. Yes, it is. A larger one will be when men love love and hate hate, but do not deify them. It will be a larger one. And finally, number 10, not waving, but drowning. This is the best-known poem by Stevie Smith, and in 1995, it was voted Britain's 4th favourite poem in a poll. First published in 1957, Not Waving But Drowning fuses the comic and the tragic, moving between childlike simplicity and darker, more cynical touches as it describes a man out at sea who appears to be waving, but, well, the title makes it plain. Nobody heard him, the dead man, but still he lay moaning. I was much further out than you thought, and not waving, but drowning. Poor chap, he always loved larking, and now he's dead. It must have been too cold for him, for his heart gave way, they said. Oh, no, 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 it was too cold always. Still the dead one lay moaning. I was much too far out all my life, and not waving, but drowning. Thank you for listening.